We saw Wings do this in Game 2 against NP. They opened with Drow Puck also.
Yeah, but I almost feel if it's a Puck on EG, I almost feel it's going to be Sumail middle.
I have seen Universe practicing it though.
I've seen him, yeah. Well, probably.
It's just important to
depends
have
who's
the
middle.
option. I
yeah,
mean, Sumail's a fantastic Puck, obviously.
Yeah, if EHOME picks like a hero that destroys Puck, then obviously you give it off lane, yeah.
Well, it's not about Sumail being a good or bad puck player, but it seems like EG tend to put Sumail on slightly more scaling type mids.
True, but they have a Drow Ranger, and that's a scaling carry already.
Yeah,
so.
and it allows the puck more dominance to kind of take off, that's true. Yeah.
And it's a stylish hero, that's a Sumail stylish hero. You know, he's in, he's out,
certainly
he's in the netherworld, he's out, he's blinking again.
Yeah.
Fun.
There he is.
There he is.
The man himself, Sumail.
12-3-7 and you lost.
That guy could be our guitarist. He's stylish.
He is
stylish.
He could be a front man for sure.
Oh,
Would
man.
you say he's mechanically talented?
I would say enough to use a pick and play that guitar in my band.
What's your band called again?
I don't remember. Tears of Darkness.
5 seconds remaining.
Something like that. Hit the bass, Purge.
Wow.
Boom, 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 boom.
That's all I got.
Reserve time.
I didn't have much time to practice.
Fat bass line there. That was dang. Alright, anyway. Undying now, banned by EG. Okay, great run at you type hero. Very good against Drow strats. Yep.
EHOME could do a dangerous tri-lane basically, because Drow, if she gets out of position, and Rubik Glyph lets you do that, you can throw somebody behind a tombstone and they have to walk past the tombstone.
Yep.
A lot of cases you're dead. So they just have to worry about the tri-lane aspect.
Take care of that Oracle here as well. Hero that got nerfed in the base damage, so obviously giving that back from the Drow would be kind of lovely to have. The Bat Rider is still in the pool as well, could perhaps open that up maybe to EHOME, but I don't recall them really running that as the support Nyx too often, so...
And weren't you guys talking about how actually EHOME plays support Nyx Assassin, not off lane?
Is that EHOME this morning? I think Kat brought that up, so perhaps Kardel will run it, but... With the Rubik setup too, I guess it is there.
Yeah.
I think we were saying it. They're pretty flexible with it. Sometimes they do off lane, sometimes they do the roaming 4.
I guess it's just so much lately now they've just been doing like this like sanking
right.
The Bat Rider, the Darkseer, those really like powerful offlaners. So maybe it actually does warrant something towards the Bat Rider. Whereas Nyx is a little bit more kind of static and kind of chill in the offlane.
Now Sven, 4th ban for EG. Well, that doesn't tell us much, really.
Nope.
10 seconds remaining.
I mean, strong hero,
Bit of a
to play
joke,
against.
yeah.
A lot of people.
Warcry, of course, up against Drow strats.
Yep.
Oh!
And a gap closer.
Whoa!
It's very hard for those two heroes to kill him, I
Reserve
think.
time.
So are they just going to keep going for tank then on EHOME? Do you think that's the strategy to win this one out?
Still the gap close, I think, in terms of the carry. Like, maybe like a Slark RPA kind of strategy. Could see the Slark, perhaps, as well.
Yeah. I'm going to throw a crazy ball out there, and let's see if anyone's ready to catch. Could we see
No.
EG's
a centaur?
turn to pick.
Potentially. Well, it's always tempting against a Drow Ranger. I think there's some baseline merit there. Is it in the arsenal for EHOME, though? I don't know that that's a hero that they've played at all in the last 30 days.
We did talk a lot about their overall versatility, though.
Very true.
So, it's hard to discount any heroes, really.
It's a good one to keep in the back burner there, Slacks. I'll give you that. Okay.
The cool thing about Drow Puck is that Drow is weak to mobility heroes, but Puck is good against mobility heroes. It was a hero that Wings actually used a TI to shut down MVP Phoenix when they were going for lots of PA Slardar kind of thing. So you just jump in, you Dream Swell, and for that reason I think Centaur would be actually weak.
EHOME's turn to
Okay,
pick.
cool. Good explanation there. Grant, you've been a little quiet. What's going on, buddy?
Analyzing the draft as it comes.
That's very good.
You take and you get. And now they have an Ogre. They have someone who's going to front line, run at you while Drow and Puck are shooting at you from different sides.
10
That's a lot of
seconds
stuff coming
remaining.
at you,
It
Grant.
is.
Yeah. Always good to have a little bit of extra movement
Not much
speed on the
thinking.
Drow Ranger.
Yeah, we know
5
EHOME,
seconds
they've been
remaining.
picking Rubik a lot. Nyx, I mean, they don't give away much.
Yeah.
You want to see what carry, like the last pick
Reserve
Pugna we
time.
saw, they pick more playing, you don't know. Until you see Sylar's hero, you don't know how they want to play the game.
And this can be one of the toughest parts of the draft here for EHOME as well, because they have to make this pick, and then they've got that, one more from EG, but then they have to go for like that double play, and then we have the potential where we might see that swap of this being the Sumail Puck, or the Universe Puck, and Sumail finds that better matchup in the mid lane that they might require. So EHOME probably can take a lot of time on this one, because as you pointed out the last time, you really want to just envision all 3 picks at this moment.
It's like a chess game. If you're only thinking one play ahead, you're not playing chess.
You've already lost.
Exactly. And look at Train on the other side of things.
Whoa!
Okay, so those early dives, like Puck, kind of notorious for countering those earlier dives too. Like in TP's in, he can snowball off of that. So maybe Living Armor could aid you in some of those cases
And
in the early aggression. Too.
This also means that it's a position 3 Nyx now. He'll be in the off lane.
Yep.
10 seconds
Which makes the Ogre pick really strong since it's a hero that can easily bully him, offset some of the high regen that Nyx has and high armor. I kind of like the tree pick just because right now EG's cores are
Reserve
about
time.
medium damage, at least early game, mid game. Puck definitely has trouble killing heroes sometimes.
Especially with living armor. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Puck cannot take
Decent
those
against the
instances
because
well.
now they have to commit for the pushes too. Obviously, if they don't fully finish the tower,
Yeah.
train protect.
Unhealable damage will not be EHOME's problem.
Well, I like the idea, but we've also seen Treant really flounder against lineups like that can flash push down towers. Where, yeah, sure, he's got living armor, but they just kill him so fast that...
You got to get them off.
Yeah.
So you're saying EG picks up the Pugna this time as the greatest mind bend of all?
It's really not good against Nyx. That's the
I
highest
mean,
in
I
game.
was being sarcastic.
Okay.
Clearly, I'm not an idiot. I know that. Anyway,
Honestly, I was kind of thinking Jakiro more than anything.
yeah, that's a good idea. Where's EHOME's damage, dude?
That is a bold
In their last
question.
2 picks?
You think so?
Well, I hope so.
Dazzler.
EHOME's
Alright,
turn to
ranged
pick.
hero, very good at laning. Can lower armor with Drow Ranger, keep her alive as well. I like it, it's okay.
It's kind of classic. The minus armor and everything. So
Pairs nicely with the Ogre, one support that has stun and slow. Dazzle's got a little slow, of course, the survivability.
seconds
Great
remaining.
attack animation, so with the Drow aura, he can zone very effectively.
Also makes
5
the
seconds
mediocre
remaining.
damage of EHOME look a lot better.
opens up the Ogre to roam mid now too. If
That's
they're
true.
if just safe lane Drow, because again that Dazzle can effectively trade with the Nyx similarly.
Yeah, I would definitely say so. Just poison touch and keep right clicking him. Sometimes Drow can come up and threaten.
So EHOME's finally gonna have to show one of them. Alchemist again?
Okay.
EG's
Worked for him last
turn
game, they'll
to
try it
bat.
again
And
here.
I like it. They don't have to ban AA this time because they already know both supports, so they're fine with just taking him straight away.
It's kind of a lame thing to opponent every time, but damn, those are some good Agnes heroes. I mean, Nyx, Rubik, Treant.
Well, Treant's not that
I mean,
good.
those are what? Come on,
We were
man.
talking about, weren't we? He doesn't get the...
No,
extra
the
ability.
Only
Treant
if you
giving the
steal-
Aghanims for the
5
Treant.
seconds
So.
remaining.
From
He
the
meant,
Alch.
he meant Alch buying Ags and giving them to his teammates.
Yeah, I know. I thought Treant's Ags...
Reserve
Oh,
time.
yeah.
We were
Oh,
Rubik.
It's bugged.
Rubik, oh yeah,
Doesn't
I'm just,
give
you know...
You don't get the tree component.
My mind is...
Grant chugged a giant box of Starbucks earlier,
Yeah.
guys. It was amazing, but he is suffering.
There was baked goods in there. Too.
This is a
Just-
great pick, because he can give Ags.
To Treant.
Back to you, Zyor.
Yeah, and similar. I mean, of course, last game it's really the same concept. If EG falters at all, if they feed up on that high ground, getting too hyper aggressive, Alch is the perfect hero to punish that.
The problem is Alch gets blown up. If Drow has a good start, Alchemist, like low, everything just gets blown up by a Drow who has free farm.
EHOME's
They banned the
turn to
Pugna.
pick.
Now, is this a game where we could see a fighting Alchemist? Do you think they could switch it up and not go the Radiant style against the Drow?
Whoa.
And now they take Weaver.
EG's
I mean, there's some
turn
merit to it only because like the minus armor and everything, like him actually being the battle with like a medallion at the Solar Crest. And
Yeah,
the
right,
armlet,
like-
with
like
the Weaver
Medallion,
damage, but
Armlet, Blink, early BKB.
I call it unlikely.
Dude, I was
Whoa!
I thought
Oh,
Viper,
Lord.
but I was like, no way.
No one picks Viper. You always want to say it.
It's really good 1v1 mid. It can pressure the Alchemist. It's a good counter against Treant armor. There's mediocre damage on EHOME. They've got lots of minus armor though.
Wow.
I can counter it.
But
Interesting.
not something we see Sumail flavor. I'm going to call this not flashy. Not a flashy.
This
hero.
is
No.
the antithesis
Unless
of flashy.
he finds a way.
That'd be
Make it
that'd be
All right.
pretty cool.
That's
Gang.
the TC Blink Viper.
I know we're excited, but we need predictions before we give it to the casters. Grant, we're starting with you this time, big guy.
Okay, well, I like EG. I think their lineup, they have the Drow. They're just going to push down. They're going to do early. They're not going to make a mistake this time, try to be a little over cocky, and they're just going to go straight down the middle.
EG's got this, dude. Viper, when he's tanky with Bloodlust,
10
constantly
seconds
corrosive skinning
remaining.
Alch, he's going to keep him super slowed, and he's going to cut through him with his passive. This is
5
actually a Viper
seconds
game.
remaining.
Yeah, I understand the idea behind the whole draft of EHOME and how it could go down the same way as last time, but I think this time EG, they do got Viper super underrated.
EG?
EHOME. I just want to upset Mott. Viper sucks, and you do too. Up to you, casters.
And with that said, we've got two casters, Mott and Capitalist.
Slack's unbelievable. Viper's a great hero, and we're going to see it here. Sumail is going to be picking it up. Of course, we were actually just talking about this during the draft. We're like, there's 3 snake heroes we could possibly see. Viper was one of them. We called it out, and somehow it gets last pick out.
It does. Somehow, evil geniuses, they seem to have some sort of snake obsession
Yes, I think so.
of theirs. So they pick up the last remaining snake hero, Viper, and they're going to go for the 5-man smoke, get onto the high ground. and wait for that rotation by someone from EG.
Yeah, EHOME are making their way. Lanham's going to lead the way on the Rubik yet again, looking for telekinesis to start things off, but so far they found nothing. They can head towards mid and maybe catch somebody there.
They really want this pick off because not only is it first blood, right, but it easily gets you the bounty rune. So, unfortunately, they're not going to find it. EG could still rally here together, get their 5-man together to contest the bounty rune, but EHOME is in a better position to kind of separate evil geniuses, prevent them from being able to group up. It looks like this is going to be their bounty rune, so successful smoke for EHOME. Even though they didn't get a kill, they secured the bounty rune for Old Chicken, and that is very, very important because he has a very tough game ahead of him, right? Last game, it was just the fact that it was like, okay, he's going to get crowded in all the time. Now he has a direct matchup that he's going to suffer against so much more than he did the SF. Samael is going to pressure the hell out of this Alchemist, and they're not going to let up. They're not going to give Old Chicken any space this time around because they've got a puck off lane, they've got a Drow Ranger pushing down towers and being a whole lot faster in general.
Missed his block.
That sucks.
That's not good at all. Old Chicken, oh, that sucks.
It's fun. You got the bounty rune. All things are good. As long as you get bounty runes and tick gold, Alchemist is the happy camper.
Another important fact, we saw this puck pick up and we're like, oh, it's going to go mid, but it's Universe playing the puck in the offlane, which is very interesting. It's not a hero, obviously, we see on him, but...
Excuse me, Mod. I believe I was saying it was an offlane.
Okay.
Yeah, dude. It just works. Because it's
give you
like you've got a Drow Ranger, so it makes the puck even better, and you have the potential for a 1v1 scenario with the Drow Ranger. They could have run an aggro tri-lane or something and given the puck the 1v1. Instead, EHOME actually rallied up these really strong supports for the laning phase and picked up a Weaver, which is also a strong laning phase hero, so they can actually take the 3v3 against EG, which is kind of rare. Most time, Drow Ranger picks are not to be trifled with in the laning phase, but here it works out. And the Nyx Assassin, even though he's matched up against this range hero, it doesn't really matter. Nyx Assassin will get what he needs out of the laning phase, he'll get his level 6, and they'll have high impact, and that is the hero you want to be following on a heal. That is the hero that is going to be able to stall up evil geniuses and open enough space for the Alchemist to be able to farm, just like we saw last game, right? It's about creating space, but they need to do it a lot more actively because EG is going to be putting the pressure on them a lot earlier.
At the very least, EHOME are doing a very good job of stopping Arteezy from getting significant farm in this bottom lane. It's even in terms of CS for both Sylar as well as the Drow Ranger. However, there is a lot of pressure being applied. You can see just Zaya as well as the Dazzle crit. They can't find an opening. They can't rotate out of the lane. It's tough for them to pull with, of course, these 3 heroes in the vicinity. So it's not an easy lane down bottom. The aggressive tri-lane from EHOME is starting to add some pressure here to EG.
Yeah, EHOME, it's going to get a lot riskier once they start getting to like level 2, level 3 areas, right? You've got the Dazzle with multiple abilities, and then the Ogre Magi starts getting bigger and bigger and tankier. I think they will have to break apart this tri-lane eventually, but they've made a nice little go here onto Arteezy.
Look at that damage. Shadow Wave, the Swarm. The Grave comes out in time. Can he get under the tier 1 tower? Will he survive? The Sal will go through and keep him up and ready. The Fade Ball.
Nice play by Lanham.
Yeah, that makes it so that Arteezy is going to have to be very careful with his positioning. Meanwhile, double damage route for Samael. Look at that. We get the living armor off. It might be enough with the unstable concoction. Samael just doesn't have the range or damage to do it. Old Chicken is very low, but he's able to tango up. Samael will have to do the same as they're both trading blows here.
Snakes on a lane. Well played. Well played, Lurkader. Well played. Old Chicken's going to be forced back until his courier comes on in with the bottle. This is just going to be his life until he takes up level 6. He can try and go back to his lane. He's actually trying to use an early unstable concoction to just give himself space to get CS. And,
oh, wow, the Shadow Wave damage is sick. Still, though, they do get the telekinesis toss back. The living armor is up for Garter. They want to at least get 1 kill out of this. Zai getting slowed down, but now finally is able to get away. Another Ignite coming out. Lana will take significant damage here. That's the back way. Shikuchi, Sylar full health, looking for some damage on crit. Arteezy, meanwhile, just pretty much taking the jungle creeps and whatever creeps he could find in lane, but not really wanting to come out and try to fight mono.
Yeah, that's kind of a nice idea, right? For Arteezy to be able to take that neutral, he doesn't expose himself in lane. They put Ogre on the front lines, which is a hero that is unlikely for EHOME to be able to burst down unless they just get a really sick Shadow Wave, and even then it seems unlikely. All things considered, EHOME are not doing so bad in their laning phase. The aggro chain lane's working out pretty well. They're putting pressure there while still maintaining CS slight advantage for Sylar. The Nyx Assassin is winning out against the puck, and more importantly is probably going to have higher impact as a hero, moving into level 6, level 7 as he rotates around. And then we've got the mid matchup, which is unfortunate for Old Chicken, but it is what it is.
The thing is about an Alchemist, he only does have 7 CS. That isn't that much, obviously, but there's still a situation where an Alchemist can come back from worse. We've seen Alchemist struggle in early game. Obviously, this is
we saw
a
him come back
situation.
from a 12,000 gold lead.
Right, that's the biggest thing, is that he did come back against pretty seemingly all odds. Obviously, there were some mistakes made by EG, but still, he can come back.
Yeah, it's the same exact thing, right? You want to be able to get your man. Oh, nice Shadow Wave.
And the silence comes out. Looks like they might not be able to get this, though, as the telekinesis will hit onto Zai. He can't follow up. And the living armor will keep Garter tanky and healthy.
The sad part about a Treant Protector, he's good in laning phase and all this, but I feel like his living armor, it was really effective last game on EG because Pugna's pushes are kind of intermittent. He does this sort of harassment onto the tower that is repaired up by the living armor. Here, these pushes from EG are going to be a lot more commitment than EHOME were able to do last time around. So I feel like the living armor isn't going to be as effective as it was last game, but EHOME are just looking to buy time, right? Even if it stalls that tower going down a minute or two, it just means a minute or two for Alchemist to get closer to that Nanta style, that Octarine core that inevitably follows. Old Chicken, oh god, he doesn't have a TP, so he needs someone else to TP in to save him here.
Sumail taking significant tower damage himself. Corrosive Skin's not going to help him there. He will back up Salve up. He did throw out the Viper Strike. The living armor was there to help him out, but not able to find the kill. Sumail's still leading the way in CS by a wide margin. 43 last hits, 20 denies. And he will have Zai to help him out.
Old Chicken's praying for a bounty rune. Not just about the gold, but also the experience.
He gets a haste rune.
Maybe he can run down to bottom and get that bounty rune.
I feel like on any other mid hero, that's the rune you want, but not for Old Chicken, not in this game.
Yeah, he takes the saber play. He assumes that bottom lane rune is something that he can't get.
Oh, telekinesis, Albana, could you get there in time? No, he can't quite get the animation off. Nor will he attempt it. He knows that it's a little bit too late for him to pick up that bounty rune. All right, EG, still they have the advantage in terms of CS in the mid lane. Again, the Alchemist can come back. Chemical Rage now. Still level 1 Greevil's Greed. He went for the point and unstable concoction, maybe just to stay safe. He has the Iron Talon on top. I don't know. What do you think about this build for Old Chicken currently?
I mean, he's got to make the jungle work. Iron Talon is pretty necessary. He knows he's not going to get much farm in lane, so he's just going to have to fall back to jungle and being off-map a whole lot because EG will try and gank him a whole bunch. I'm more interested to see how these offlaners match up, right? The Old 11, Nyx Assassin, and the Universe Puck, who's going to have higher impact because they both have their level 6s. They're both ready to make a potential rotation, which could mean a lot in this early laning phase.
Lanham was in Viz, but he gets caught. There was a sentry there. Arteezy, however, still getting chased down. Sylar looking to damage him. He has to storm up and ready to go. And there's the telekinesis. Instead, they'll go for crit. Grave is up. He should be able to get into the tower on top of this. Shadow Wave should be available. And they just can't get the kill because of that Grave, because of the Gust coming out as well for Arteezy.
Old Chicken's just like, I hope you guys are doing awesome time in your side lanes.
Maybe my Acid Spray will get some CS.
Because I am not having a good time versus Viper. 56 and 28 on Sumail compared to the 25 and 1 on our poor.
I mean, but this is what you pick Viper for. You pick him to dominate a lane, and clearly that has happened. It's Sumail, for God's sakes.
All right, here's the rotation from Old 11. This should be really easily telegraphed, right? Because the Universe is still in his lane, and he's like, guys, the hero's gone. He's ganking somewhere. Unlikely he's going to be ganking a Viper because it's Viper. And it's an Alchemist in lane, so he can't really help you out with that gank. So pretty clearly he's going bottom, which is why Zai is playing deep inside the tree.
He is alone, but somehow they do not spot it. Sylar didn't see him. There's no way. He walked right by him.
He didn't even throw out like the guest swarm, you know, into the trees to just see if he can catch a hero like that. Now Zai
and then Zai walks out.
Feel like idiots. They're like,
oh, here I am, guys. Meanwhile, mid lane, you do have the Viper. Old Chicken does have the Invis rune. He drops the Acid Spray. Sumail's like, I'll just hit you a couple times, then go back to denying your creeps once more. And then Universe gets more room top to get up in terms of his farm, to start pressuring the tier 1 tower in that lane.
Yeah, Universe has more incentive to sit in his lane. First of all, he's got Drow Aura, so he can start chipping away at the tower. Second of all, he needs his Link Dagger, which is something that Nyx Assassin doesn't need to be able to get these ganks. And then his presence in the lane makes it a lot more obvious when the Nyx Assassin is gone. He can always readily get that information away.
TP out from Old 11, he will make it away.
Sneaky.
They finally blow up that aggressive trial lane at about 9 minutes in. Do you think they accomplished enough down bottom for EHOME?
It's hard to say because it's not like Arteezy CS was really that hard shut down. and they left the Alchemist out in the cold, essentially, in that mid lane by always having their 2 supports bottom.
Oh, the solo kill, Old 11 coming in. Is it enough? Phase shift's gonna go, but it's not there. Old 11's able to get the kill. He had some follow-up coming in with the Shikuchi from the Weaver, but not needed. Nice play from Nyx Assassin.
The trade-off from the aggro tri-lane is not just about what is gained or lost in the laning phase for that situation. It's about what the Nyx Assassin can accomplish with those early levels. What kind of impact can he have? And that kill on a puck is obviously huge. That was a nice little maneuver, right? He showed bottom lane, went ahead, vendetta, TP'd up to the tier 2, hoping to be able to catch EG off guard. The thing is, you have to get a little tricky like that when you're playing the Nyx Assassin, because otherwise your ganks are super heavily telegraphed, like we saw from that first rotation by him to that bottom lane. So the fact that he switched things up a little bit, ganked the puck like that was huge, and they actually almost get this tower, but now
Dream Coil, they will break it on Salar. Old 11 trying to TP out. There's the waiting rift. They cannot get him in time. The TP completes, no follow-up damage into Sylar. Get the ward down, though, at the very least.
Yeah, and they can take away that tower. You know, the next small little push that comes out from a Weaver or something like that, they'll take that tier 1. So that chip damage actually adds a lot to them. On him, though.
Yeah, the gank was getting set up. I had been there for a while. The Ignite, Viper Strike not there because the Telekinesis is stunned. Lanham's still getting chased and chewed down, and the Viper will kill him. One ticket got to come in with an unstable concoction. Now Garter's in, maybe a little too deep. He's got the Witcher's guys. Vapor Strike is not going to be enough. He will get low, 120 HP, but they can't bring him down. No detection. Here comes Old 11 again with the Vendetta. But they see him this time. They've got detection. They're ready. They won't quite find the initiation to bring him down, but he is underneath his tower. Needs to be careful.
Yeah, it's hard for them to fight right now. Weaver isn't really ready to go. Alchemist obviously can't really fight just yet. Rubik's not level 6, so he can't even get any big abilities. They're still going to try to protect this tier 1 tower, though, at least force EG back to get that living armor to start protecting that tier 1. And all the meanwhile, they're opening space for Weaver to take that tier 1 top lane. So just the presence there, I thought it was going to be ineffective, but EG do actually back away. They don't continue that push. And that positional advantage remains in EHOME's favor now.
They do get the trade-off. It was tier 1 tower top for tier 1 tower bottom. Arteezy took it solo. The living armor, as you talked about, starting to heal that mid-tier 1 tower back up into full. It'll take some time to get there, but they're defending it pretty heavily right now. 11 and Lanham are just sitting here underneath the tower. EG will rotate in one more to this mid lane. See if this is spotted out. There is an observer ward, I believe, close by. It's a dire one. Should spot some of these rotations. They'll see Crit, they'll see Sumail, but they know if this is coming. I'm not sure they can stop the push, especially with Arteezy here now.
Yeah, I think this time around, you have to say goodbye to your mid-tier 1. But I think that presence they had in mid lane was still really good, right? Because you have to, the trade-off the side lane towers is beneficial for EHOME because you expect your Ranger to be able to take side lane towers, right? But you can't necessarily expect EHOME to be able to always be able to trade like that. So the fact they were able to do so, and they give it on the Weaver too, whose build up into a Desolator is going to be pretty key for his impact, not just in the team fights, but also when it comes to split pushing. It's very important to get him online as soon as possible.
Good Dream Coil from Universe to start this fight off. Waning Rift, they get the Gust on the Rubik as well. They can't quite find Old 11 with further initiation. He's still vendetted up too, but a pick is a pick, and that will lead into more chip damage to these towers.
Garter is being the one to push out the bottom lane right now. It's hard, like a Nyx Assassin, kind of like the Bounty Hunter from last game, doesn't have a role, really. You know, he tries to get these occasional ganks, but once EG group up, like how do you stop them? They have the Viper on the front lines, they have all this pushing power. You can't by yourself distract them from taking these tier 2 towers. So he's just kind of wandering around, now he's going to be caught.
And now he's dead. The Waiting Rift, the Illusory Orb, he was just a little too close to that tower. Lanham tried coming in time, he had just respawned. Can't quite help his teammate out. Salar's trying to do what he can to this tier 2 tower in this top lane. Garter the same down at the bottom, but tier 2's lost mid.
It's a very thin line to play as this kind of ganking offlaner where you know you can't be effective in actually finding pickoffs, but at the same time you're trying to buy space for your other 2 cores, right? Weaver as well as the Alchemist for them just to be able to farm up. You want to be able to slow down these pushes, but you also can't give them that free extra kill if you're not actually going to be impactful. And that's one of those sides where you just stepped a little bit too far over into the ganking and trying to have a presence in a tower that he actually could not save. It's kind of hard to make those kind of reads, but EHOME are now going to try and go for an aggressive move.
They have the Radiant Scan on point. Can they get out in time? It looks like they'll be able to do so. Maybe they're looking to fight this. Sunil's going to come in. Old 11's on the high ground. Smoke's still there. No dissipation yet. Crit almost gets it, but he was still vendetted up even with the smoke going down now. And they won't find anything. There is an Observer Ward deep in this EG side of the jungle.
Look at Old 11's positioning right now and check out those 2 wards next to it. What this is, it's like, even though that smoke didn't find a gank, it actually got a really good read on where EG are grouped up and where they can actually put some pressure on the map. So he's sitting there sort of like this mobile ward, making sure that AG aren't making the rotation into mid, nor are they making a rotation up to top lane. So Old Chicken feels comfortable farming up there. That was like the most successful, least active smoke. You know, in that it just bought a little bit of space, right? And those are the little things that EHOME have to have. They have to have these small little wins.
It's like when the smoke came out from EG last game, they were able to dodge it, they were able to find some time for the Alchemist. Anytime they can get for this hero, because again, we've seen what he could do in the past. I mean, this guy clearly insane on the Alchemist. Old Chicken not having the best start in comparison to the last game, but can still get back into this game. They're pushing top, they're taking the tier 2 tower, at least they're attempting to, but meanwhile, EG rotate into the roach pit. I don't see any contention here from EHOME. I'm not sure they're ready to do so either.
Yeah, the only thing they can really do would be like Sylar, if he had like a little bit of inkling that this is going on, throw a Swarm in there, and then they'd have the knowledge of how many heroes are in the Roshan pit, and then Alchemist would be able to pressure that tier 2 at top lane. It would just give them this minor positional advantage. But there's obviously no way that EHOME, even if they knew that Roshan was going up, could they possibly contest? Again, the 5-man group up of EG is too strong. You can't break it with EHOME's heroes. They do not have the early game team fighters. They don't have really impactful big time abilities like Warlock's Chaotic Offering or anything that can guarantee win them team fights. So they have to play just a split push and this kind of efficiency game as best as possible. And that's why we talk about these small little things where EHOME gain a slight positional edge.
The good thing is it's not all on the Alchemist this game. Last game they didn't have the course that scaled as well. They still won, but now they have Sylar on the Weaver, and he's starting to get closer and closer to his next item. Looking at Sylar's items at this point, he's sitting on his Dragonlance, going for the early game. Makes sense considering how EG are being so aggressive here. No Lincoln Sphere, no Desolator just yet, but now this is going to be a tough defense for them. RTZ will take some damage. He does have the Aegis. Dragonlance is up as well, 2,200 gold on top. I don't know if EG's going to be too aggressive here, especially with RTZ at half health.
Man, they have the sustain from crit, and it feels like you want to continue to go. You know, you want to be able to force all the EHOME heroes back, but Old Chicken is just not taking that bait. He is sitting out of the fight. He's pushing up that top lane. He's farming the neutrals. He's actually, if you see his position right now, it looks like he's expecting a rotation through his jungle to try and catch him there. So he's spending a little bit of a break, waiting until his team finds information about where the EG heroes are. And then because he's so close to that relic, right? He's holding on so much unreliable gold, it'd be disastrous if he died now.
And this Alchemist is certainly one of their keys to victory. Old Chicken, 3.9k as you talked about. That relic, it's completed if he can get the courier there and bought. Now the Shadow Blade done for RTZ. Looking at the other items as well, there's plenty coming here for EG. They have the Viper now up to about 8k in terms of net worth. He picked up a mech, so going for sort of that older mentality type build. We used to see Vipers pick up mech all the time, but the Dragonlance first, obviously a bit of a newer style to this hero. I mean, we don't see this hero that much, to be fair. Viper's not picked like crazy in competitive Dota.
No, certainly not. Nice jump here. It will be enough to kill the Nyx Assassin. TP out, just not good enough against that physical damage.
He's having a rough game, this Nyx, and it's for all the reasons that you talked about earlier.
I mean, this is what happens when you pick up the early Nyx Assassin and the early Bounty Hunter. It can become a really ineffective hero if the enemy team just picks up like this really tight, like 5-man death ball strategy, right? Because these heroes are reliant on being able to find pickoffs and gain information. But when an enemy team is running at you with 5 heroes down a lane, there's no special information that you can give, right? As a Nyx Assassin, there's no pickoff that you can set your team up for or even get solo.
It's not easy for the Nyx. He'll respawn up. Old Chicken forced back to his tier 3 tower. The tier 2 tower push coming in from both sides in the safe lane. Sylar down in EGs, and then conversely EG up top trying to take that tier 2 tower as well. With the Viper should be rather easy. TPing in from RTZ. He's alone down at this bottom tier 2. He still has that Aegis, but it looks like Sylar won't go for the kill. And the rest of the team backing up. Old 11. Sentry a little bit out of range to catch him. And no deny.
That's how you know you're in a sad place as an Nyx Assassin. When you try and use Vendetta to get a deny on a tower, you know?
Can do this.
You're like, man, this ability is really useless right now.
He's not finding anybody with it now. That's definitely true, but EHOME still, they have ways back in this game as we've seen previously. Viper will pick up the Oblivion staff next, and EG will start working on their next couple of items here. at 19 minutes in. They will lose this Aegis, by the way, very soon for Arteezy. Now Salar has a double damage rune. This is a great item. Arteezy does have a Shadow Blade, and he does pop it in time. Salar with no detection. And Arteezy is able to make it away. No TP scroll, so he can't quite TP out. He has to wait, maybe get some help from the rest of his squad. But it's actually Salar that's leaving first and foremost.
Yeah, he's getting real close. Desolator is a nice pickup. BKB is also a really good item in this game against the Puck. He's one of the better controlling heroes against Weaver. So it's going to be interesting to see, like, where does he take that? Does he get BKB before the high ground push comes in from Evil Geniuses, thinking I have to have this item for the team fight for us to be able to contest? Or does he go the higher risk, higher reward item in the Desolator first, which allows him to have a much higher impact? Split pushing could force Evil Geniuses away from pushes just through the positioning, and obviously will mean a much higher impact damage when it comes to team fights as well. Nice early pickoffs potentially on the Dazzle. Maybe he can kill that hero before the Shallow Grave comes off, or maybe even just force the Shallow Grave on himself. That could be a win as well. But if he doesn't go that BKB, right, he's susceptible to the sounds of Puck, the sounds of the Drow Ranger, who's going to be hunting him when he goes for these split pushes.
I mean, all things considered, we haven't really talked about it, but it's 4-1 in this game, Cap. There's really not been any 5-on-5 team fight. There's been a couple of pickoffs here and there, but we haven't seen that much action in this game, so...
Alchemist games.
Yeah.
What can you do as a caster but watch him farm with Greevil's Greed bit by bit?
I mean, and he's getting there. He does have 2.3k. They will find the Impale on Arteezy. They really want this tier 1 tower for Salar, and they will find it. Overgrowth not there in time. Gus coming back. That was the job. They get off the 3-man coil. They have the TPs out in time. Can they get there? All of them escape from EHOME. They all make it out. They TP one after the other. Nice plays to get out pretty much at the same time, essentially.
Really well set up Power Ranger situation there from EHOME. All the lights go up, and I mean, there's only 2 stuns to work with, right? Dream Coil, which initiates the whole entire team fight, and then it's going to be Ogre. Even if he was there, he'd only be able to stun one of them. So at least 2 of those heroes is getting away, guaranteed.
They all make it out. There's the Orchid now done.
Oh, Alchemist.
Yeah, he's in trouble. Damage from Arteezy. The living armor will come out and help for it.
Maybe he's sticking around too much.
He's got the Grave if they need it. There's the Impale. Arteezy getting chopped down now. Maybe this Nyx assassin can finally find something. The Grave. It looks like it won't be enough. Arteezy in worlds of trouble. They get the Gust off as well. Not that it's needed. EHOME finally find that pick they're looking for, and Crit might be next. Old 11 chasing him down. Impale not going to connect. Crit. We have a TP, but it's on cooldown for 8 seconds. They get the Fade Bolt off the Unstable Concoction. Easy 2 pickoffs, and it's Old Chicken that's involved as well.
And it seems like Arteezy, he wants to utilize the Shadow Blade to punish the split pushers when the Alchemist goes for it or the Weaver does it, but he's been struggling to find that right connection. I think EHOME's movement in this game, you know, it's not the most exciting thing in the world to talk about, but as you pointed out not too long ago, it was 4-1, Bot. It's these small little things in this game that build enough of an advantage for EHOME to stop that big high ground push that's going to come, because we're going to have a very dramatic swing when it comes to the control over this game around, I would say, 25 to 30 minutes, right? When EG go for that push, can they actually take that lane of Rax, or do EHOME defend, and all of a sudden we're going to see a very rapid changeover where EHOME start dominating team fights because they have 2 cores that will be coming online.
TP's coming out again. This time the Rubik will not make it. Spike Carapace, Old 11. There was no jaunt from Universe to go further. And going back to your point previously talking about the scaling for EG, it's not like Viper scales particularly well. He does more so now than he used to, obviously, with all the buffs they received, the Dragonlance coming out, but he's still not that great of a hero when it comes to late game situations.
Yeah, even with the introduction of like Dragonlance, which is a nice boosting item for the early mid game, and then he can even go the Bloodthorn item, which is a pickup that Viper can now kind of abuse as well. It's just, he's still ultimately a hero that dominates 25 minutes and starts falling off past 35 minutes. He has a very focused window. And so does, in some ways, Puck, and so does, in lesser ways, the Drow Ranger, right? So if you have all 3 of those heroes in one core, it means you have a very specific window where you try and end the game, and if they end it, like, it could be very clean. All of a sudden, wham bam, they win one team fight, they take a lane of Rax, they force buybacks, and then they win another team fight, game's over. Or there's going to be these holds from EHOME, where they just manage to draw the game out a bit longer, and then next thing you know, Alchemist and Weaver are too big to deal with.
Oh, Crit walks out at the wrong time. Is going to be spotted. Grave might get off. He'll try for the TP, but the Unstable Concoction is there as soon as the Grave goes. and the TP on top of it. The Radiance will burn him down. And it's those picks, like you were talking about, Cap, that do prolong this game. Without all 5 heroes, without their Dazzle, I don't see EG pushing anytime soon.
Yeah, and that small bit of gold is going to give the Manta to the Alchemist. And we talked about last game, all of a sudden he had Manta, and then he had 2,000 gold in his bank, right? It happens so quickly when you have this illusion item for the Alchemist. Octarine is not too far away, almost gets that kill. But RTZ, he sticks around. He's got 2 heroes behind him, so unlikely EHOME are going to be able to force anything here. But again, they're getting space. They got the illusions pushing bottom. Garter's even there to help out some. Alchemist is also defending top lane at the same time.
I feel like I've seen this movie before, except it was much more dramatic in the first game. I mean, this Alch is now top of the net worth by a wide margin. 17,000 of the 13,000 of Viper. Again, Viper dominated that mid matchup to begin this game, starting to sort of plateau. He is still very good in net worth. He's farming exceptionally well. Universe will find Garter down bottom. He might get caught. Detection, they have the gem for Universe. Dream Coil will go. It looks like they should pick up his kill. Overgrowth comes in just to try to save his life a bit longer, making them waste some time. They do inevitably get the kill, but it does last 10 to 15 seconds longer than maybe EG would have liked.
The thing about Evil Geniuses is that they are still scaling pretty well. Like, they haven't fully committed on trying to go for these pushes. They've still farmed pretty well on Drow Ranger and more specifically on Viper. Like, he's sitting at 13k net worth because he hasn't died yet. He's got the Blink Dagger now, trying to get a better initiation on these EHOME heroes. So they're not going to fall off as quickly as you might expect in the past, but they will still have a very specific time window, and it's about that time, right? We've got Roshan number 2 up. Roshan number 2, EG gets that Aegis, they go for a high ground push. If EHOME can somehow deny that from them, then things are going to be looking pretty rough for EG.
The Impale from Old 11 would have hit crit, but he's able to walk past just in time, and so they can't find a setup. I don't know if they would have gotten a kill even with it. Sai will pick himself up a rune, grab it, it's an illusion. Fire Blast will go out. Unfortunately, not the real target as Sylar skitters away as that Weaver. I feel like EHOME are just, it's a lot like last game where they're doing such a good job of dodging fights at this 26-minute mark around this time. They did the same thing last game, and just making sure they can get farm on these Alchemists. And he's doing a great job of it.
I think they're doing even better job. And in some cases, right, it's because last time they had only a single core Alchemist, so they had a little bit more fighting power, where here it's very clear that they want to split push and dodge. And that's part of the reason they're doing so much better in dodging EG at this critical time. But I think in some ways it's also them just being a little bit more practiced and aware of the movements of Evil Geniuses. This smoke and hold to the deep side of the jungle could get punished by EG if they make the right rotation downwards.
Old Chicken, the TP successful, gets that in time. Lanham, I don't know if he can escape. He does actually stun himself after jaunting away with the stolen Illusion Orb. It was a cool play.
But either way, that was sick by Lanham because he stopped the coil from going down on the Alchemist, right? That is the most important thing there. Save Alchemist, get the Alchemist.
Living armor, is it enough to Fire Blast? Can he get off the time lapse? No! Yes, he can. Another silence play, still have detection, and they will follow him down. EG get a huge kill into Sylar and stop him from farming, at least for a moment.
That is big because, you know, we talked about Octarine Core now and Alchemist. EG need to be able to stop at least one of these cores from getting progression in items. And the Weaver, he's actually going to Manta style instead of the BKB, which obviously makes a lot of sense. Manta style can deal with the silences that we were talking about just as easily as BKB can. So if he can get that item, it'll just mean, again, his split push is all the more effective because he feels he has this room to be able to push even more offensively because he has this defensive item to be able to fall back on, ensuring the silences are not as effective. Here's Roshan number 2 attempt, though, by Evil Geniuses. Can EHOME contest? It was very clear they can't contest Roshan number 1. Through the harassment of Manta illusions and stuff, if they knew about this, they might be able to stall EG out, but it doesn't seem like they know.
Now they're heading in there. No vision for EHOME. They've even Vendetta. They're looking for something in this bottom lane. This is going to fall pretty quickly. They use the scam. I don't think they're going to be there in time. In fact, this will certainly go to EG. TZ picks up the Aegis and is getting closer. That next item, and
whoa, what is this?
It's a Bloodthorn.
Oh, I think EHOME, I think they know. Evil Geniuses is just going to be like, pick up that Aegis and go high ground. Maybe they want to try and get some sort of surprise initiation.
They're going all the way around.
EG's going to expect these heroes inside the base and some sort of split push to happen.
Look at this wraparound gank. It's like, this is going to take a while for them to set up if they can get it. There isn't vision, and now EG move into a much safer position for themselves on this high ground. And they will actually move into the jungle. So it was a close attempt here from EHOME. They went a little too far. That would have been sick to find, but no such luck for them.
Yeah, whenever you're dealing with these push lineups, right, you want to try if possible to force the team fight outside of your base.
EHOME still looking to maybe move out for a moment. They want to get as much farm on Old Chicken and Sylar as possible. They'll take the hard camp. EG not pushing yet. They have to clear out the creep wave and push in. It'll take another couple seconds or so. Bottom is pushing it very hard. EG looks like they'll TP RTZ back. With the Aghanim Scepter now, he will be able to clear this out rather quickly.
Yes, he will. And if he can get a Mjolnir, all of a sudden we see the Tesla Ranger, where Drow Ranger's outputting just a ton of magic damage and clearing through like the illusions of the Alchemist really quickly. They know the Drow Ranger's bottom. Maybe EHOME can find an initiation here, but it would be very risky. Even 4 versus 5. EG could just survive through that team fight long enough for the Drow Ranger to make his way up.
Illusion still causing grief. Old 11 on the hunt, blink away in time, coming out from Sumail. Still Old 11 crosses the river, won't find anything. It's a game of positioning right now. That's what it feels like anyway, Captain. Just keep the lanes pushed out for both teams. Try to find a pick or two. Some pretty important ones could change the pace of this game.
Yeah, just like last game, EHOME can win this game purely through attrition, of just being able to prevent evil geniuses from feeling comfortable going high ground by getting these side lane pushes out or getting the occasional pick off, and even just straight up contesting the push with this Alchemist illusion. It's getting big enough that it's kind of a menace to deal with.
Smoke, EHOME, are they going to back in time? Universe blinks, but to the wrong area. Spell Seal, it looks like they need to get out now. EHOME are looking to actually punish this. Zai will not get hit up with the impale. Two-man gust touch this. Sumail is coming with the Viper Strike. They blow away that Nyx Assassin. They give the Bloodlust as well. They want to keep going. Old Chicken realizes, I don't really want to fight this right now. 4 versus 5. Good jaunt away coming out from bottom. Really using that illusion were up to great effect. But that is a pick. He does have buyback, but the creep wave is coming in, and now it might be time for EG to get some chip damage on this tower.
Yeah, they have not had a better opportunity than this one right here. They've got Aegis 20 seconds down on one hero. Nyx Assassin is not the most important hero, that's for sure. He's sitting at only 5,800 net worth. And apparently they feel like that's not enough an advantage. Instead, they're going to, because EHOME are all clustered up in that middle lane, it gives them free space on EG to be able to push in these side lanes and get control of the map. But it's so tough to keep that control against the Alchemist with his Naga Siren-esque split pushes on with all these illusions.
Now, do you think EG, they have 2 minutes left on their Aegis, do you think they're going to go for a push? Do you think they need to try to at least take a tier 3 or Rax before this Aegis is out?
I mean, I thought so. I won't lie. Like, Drow Ranger is still a bit of a question mark in how much she falls off past 35 minutes. The introduction of the Aghanim Scepter is, I think, a better option for late game than Drow Rangers had in the past. And Viper is still making a pretty good net worth lead over the Weaver. But I feel like EG's maybe moving a bit too slow, but...
Well, they might get some help now. Old Chicken gets caught by the creep wave still. They get the Grave off in time. Universe is already real low. Old Chicken's already go to work for Sumail. Viper Strike out the impale. They'll bring him down first and foremost. But here comes RTZ, laying into a lot of him. Can they bring Old Chicken down? Look at the damage! Illusion coming through. No more usage of that chemical rage, but he cannot find the kill. It is still a 3 for 2. They found the Weaver. The Fire Flash. They get the win here from there's the Magic Style. Oh, he will get out now with full health. Looking for the Aegis. He will find it. Gem on the attack. Zai will fall next to the Swarm Ship, bring it down, and will. Sylar still staying around. Wants the man fight, and looks like he will. Gus not catching. Not catching. No Gus, the Shikuchi.
Right.
And they will stall to a draw. What a man fight coming out from Sylar and RTZ.
Man, if Sylar was actually big enough to be able to win that man fight against the Drow Ranger, it would have been so big, right? Because he grabs the stolen gem, and that means the Drow Ranger can't actually escape with that invis. He could just follow with Shikuchi. But it seemed like Sylar, feeling a little bit weak at the knees there, saw how close he was getting to death and said, whoa, this is a big throw. Why try and go for that RTZ kill? And I give the gem right back to Evil Geniuses. Like, that's a huge control point for EG. Keeping that vision game ahead of EHOME is what allows them to be able to find so many of these pickoffs, and it prevents the Nyx Assassin from being as effective in the way that he is able to not only just initiate team fights, but find information about the EG team and where they're located at. Like, that's a huge win, being able to get that item, not just the team fight. So I like the fact that he did back up there and didn't go overly aggressive. EHOME, they lost the Alchemist, yes, but they just bought themselves time, right? They didn't have to deal with an Aegis push high ground.
The good thing
They
is
can be
for
aggressive
EG
again.
and they will. EHOME are going to start moving together, and they very, very well may find Universe. Looks like he will get out, but the good thing for EG is the amount of damage RTZ did to the Alchemist. I mean, it's clear they can start man fighting. And the thing is also is that Sumail died very quickly on top of that. So you have the Drow, but Sumail is starting to fall off himself.
Oh, the initiation.
They're going to wrap in. Universe is going to get caught. He will drop first. They get the Viper Strike. That'll be on the Nyx Assassin. It looks like he will fall. Maybe not the Living Armor. He's dropped to the Bloodthorn. They do take another down. It's the Weaver. A big kill. EG will grab it, but here comes Old Chicken. Pops the Mantle. He's going to play mail on top of it. Carter coming through on top of this. Arch doesn't have his overthrow. He'll have his Maelstrom popped. Going to be the steal of the Gust, but now the silence is up. The Chemical Rage is there. The Living Armor getting through. Old Bottom trying to do what he can. Tells him to stop the damage further. Leech Seed side, chasing him down. Silence for another half second or so. They're turning around. Chemical Rage still hitting him up. They have the Unstable Concoction. They want side, but Arteezy knows this. The Gust will come through. Shiva's Guard gets off, and again, 4 hero side for EG. EHOME this time. Old Chicken survives throughout the fight.
And EHOME just hit a big swing. Like, they just proved in that last Aegis fight that they can actually win team fights against evil geniuses. Now that they no longer have an Aegis to deal with, they can push this advantage and they can try and take more fights against EG and take some objectives for themselves. I'm not sure if EG actually can make their way back into this game with the Drow Ranger Viper trying to scale higher into the game. I mean, very clearly, they feel like that's not that big of a problem. Like, maybe I'm overemphasizing the drop-off of these cores from EG because they had a point in time, a couple times, where they could have tried to push high ground. Yes, it wouldn't have been the most clear-cut push in the world, but they did have opportunity to do so, and instead they sat back and farmed a little bit more and tried to play a more holding game to try and suffocate out EHOME. So maybe they feel comfortable scaling into this, but I personally would not. I'm dealing with an Alchemist and a Weaver. That last time around, it was just the Alchemist, right? This time around, they've got this big Weaver. You saw the way he just blew up Universe as soon as he was disabled.
He's going to start giving away Ag to this Alchemist now. He's picked up an Aghanim Scepter for himself to give away. And EHOME are positioning themselves to try to take this next Roche. This next Roche seems pretty important, Cap. This third Roshan, Aegis and Cheese. Yeah. This seems like EG, they need to get this.
I think they're going to give this Aghanim Scepter to Old 11 because all of a sudden he becomes a high ground menace, right? It's so hard to push into that burrowed Nyx Assassin who's able to do the really long range impales and mana burns. I won't lie though, if this game goes on later, I would love to see the Aghanims being put on the Weaver. Not only is the stats nice to have, a little bit more tankiness on a Weaver is always welcome, but then all of a sudden you have this weird interaction where they can actually use this Weaver's ultimate on the Alchemist. Think how hard it was to take down the Alchemist first time, all of a sudden you send him 5 seconds back in time. Interesting things could happen.
He'll be pretty much unkillable if the Weaver can stay alive long enough to use that time lapse. And it will come at some point or another if this game does go on long enough. EHOME moving together into EG's jungle. They'll smoke up, but so too are EG. We're going to hit perhaps a massive clash here. They actually head in the opposite direction towards that secret shop. EG looking for EHOME outside of their base. They won't find them. They'll drop some wards down. So too will EHOME as they run through the enemy jungle. But 2 ships will pass in the night, it looks like.
Yeah, both teams are trying to find that that pick-off or that team fight initiation to their advantage right before Roshan is up. You know, this is about the time where Roshan's up. If they can get the fight, if they can get the 4 versus 5 now, they can get a clear Roshan win, get that Aegis and Cheese in their hands. Neither team finds that, though, and it looks like it will be a brawl around the pit.
This Roche fight it's up in 23 seconds. It's already tense as it is, 37 minutes into the game. EG 1 game down after that collapse. Of course, Sumail blinking into the trees, and after that, the team fight went awry. They still have a chance. It is, like you said, a little bit later on. The Alchemist is huge, and EG will have a tough time taking him down, but now Roche is about to respawn. EG are positioning themselves in the top lane. They might want to force TPs back. They might want to try to get this tier 3 tower, but they're not heading over to that Roche pit, Cap.
Yeah, Sylar recently got a very big pickup. He completed the BKB now. Because of his item choice, right, of going the Mantis style first, he now has this 10-second BKB at the 40-minute marker. That is huge, right? This Weaver can just man up against these heroes with no fear whatsoever.
Old Chicken Mantis style is just in time, and EG couldn't quite jump on him. Now, EHOME looks like they might have the positioning advantage. Sylar's coming in. Good Gust. Unstable Concoction might stun out Old Chicken. Dream Coil, they'll find 2. And it looks like the Nyx and Carter will fall almost instantly, but no, the Overgrowth comes down. And here comes the Gust, sold by a bottom. Dual Scepter is going to be on the Alchemist. Still, it is 2 dead for EHOME right now, but the damage is there. They'll bring down RTZ, and Sumail is going to be next. The Grave will come through. Can he get Lot of the Ghost Scepter, the Fire Blast? Sumail will try the TP, will not make it in time. Gone back in by Universe, gives his life away, and the gem. It was looking so good for EG. It turns into a 3-for-3 as Zai does end up bringing Lonham down at the end of the day.
The 2 big cores, though, stay alive, and it's the 2 supports of EG who walk away from that team fight. A big win by EHOME once again, and they are getting the space for even more farm. That you saw the way that 10-second BKB interacted, right? He's got no fear whatsoever. They've had no disables to be able to go through that BKB, which means he can guarantee play hyper-aggressive and be able to fall back on that ultimate. It just means he can pressure like a defensive support like Dazzle and kill him right away, or go for the puck and force a weird illusory orb that doesn't really hit the mark.
And force the buyback now. Yeah, this is exactly what they wanted for EHOME. They won't force the second. It's still 20 seconds on respawn for RTZ, but it looks like that might be the end of it. They're more than happy with the Viper buyback, and now they can move towards Roshan, secure that Aegis and Cheese. And EG starting to play from the back foot for sure.
Yeah, 1 buyback down, 1 good team fight. Let's not forget about this whole entire team fight attempt was also setting up Roshan for them, so EHOME can still fall back on that as well. Aegis and Cheese. Welcome addition for EHOME.
You talked about it the entire game, Cap. It felt like there was a certain timing window for EG. You were stressing it multiple times, and it's just not there for them. They're not going to get to Roshan in time either. EHOME are going to take the Sage, they're going to take the Cheese. Are EG going to commit to this anyways? It looks like they might back up. They're going to stay the high ground. EHOME knows something is amiss, and they will back away.
EHOME, much like the way Alliance held on to their lead against Complexity, they're staying very tight together, not going into high ground situations where they could get caught by a smoke. They're playing this smart.
There's the sentry. Old 11 will walk, and so will Sylar. Looking for Sumail. He did buy back, able to blink out and avoid at least a couple of those right clicks, but EG are out of base. Good Gus, perfectly timed, waiting for coming out until they got the weave down. Kardel will fall first, but again, that's not going to matter if they can bring down these cores. Sumail trying to fight the Viper Strike. Sylar gets off time after time. Still taking a heck of a amount of damage, though, but RTZ tells he needs stuff. The Grave will come through. There's the Dream 12, beautifully done. Aegis is gone, but that's it so far. Now, still with the Chemical Rage. RTZ's got the buyback. There's only 1 dead right now for EHOME, not including that Aegis. Zai will be the 3rd to fall for Evil Geniuses.
EG kept themselves in this game by being able to get the Viper out of there and sacrificing the Drow Ranger instead, and they took away the Aegis, but obviously things are getting darker and darker for EG. The high ground push is finally coming from EHOME. They're going to make very short work of this tier 3, which forces Artur into a buyback.
Waning Rift, Gus not connecting, it looks like, onto Old Chicken. RTZ is going to try to use his right clicks and slow him down with the Frost Arrows, but not able to do so as the Manta Style came perfectly timed. They will defend. The tier 3 tower is still alive for the time being, but now EHOME are looking to take the rest of the outer towers. The last one, top lane. But there's the jump in. Universe will find the Yule Scepter. Waning Rift, is it there in time? It is. There's the BKB up and ready for Sylar in 14 seconds. Still, he gets the time lapse off first and foremost. Bonham coming in with his telekinesis. Sumail can't afford a death here. He's got no buyback to telekinesis, and it looks like he very well may fall. The Grave is going to come through. I don't see him getting out. He'll try the TP. Can he make it away? Absolutely not. They will blow up the Rubik, but it is still too dead as Zai is yet to respawn. But Sumail falling for 85. And that's going to be a problem for Evil Geniuses.
Bottom sees the opportunity. He knows there's no buyback, and now they just caught RTZ as well.
Right in the unstable concoction. They can't keep him up. The Grave will come first. He tries to Shadow Blade out, but I don't think he's going to make it. The Shadow Wave to heal him through. Still alive. They don't have detection. They're not quite there, but they're already taking down the back line. They'll hit at least the Dazzle as well as Universe on that puck, and that might be a 3 dead. It's so tough for RTZ alone to defend this, and right now, he's filling up as it stands.
There's nothing he can do at this point. RTZ by himself, as the only core to stand up against EHOME, cannot possibly beat them.
Telekinesis eyes caught. They will use that silence at least onto the Alchemist. It's just not enough damage. He's able to just Manta out of it. And now Old 11 looks like he might survive as well. Full set of racks gone mid. All 5 alive for EHOME. All pretty much 5 for dead for EG. And that's it. They can't defend. EHOME taking the series 2-0 against Evil Geniuses.
EHOME, I gotta say, they played that late game. It felt like the draft was in favor for Evil Geniuses in that game number 1. Like they just got such a big lead so early because EHOME did not have heroes that could be effective, but they still